Boomer Sooner.
Upended balls loose, lay it around, picked up on the run. Cannon, he's to the 10, he's to the 5, touchdown!
Live at Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. Welcome to the OU Huddle on the Sooner Sports Network from Learfield. Presented by Air Comfort Solutions, your total home solution for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical. Make the winning call today. Also brought to you by Riverwind Casino. Good times, great rewards. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. And by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. Now, here's the voice of the Sooners, Toby Rowland.
All right, hi everybody, and welcome to Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue. It is a Monday night, time to talk some Sooner football. We're going to do it for the next 60 minutes here on the Huddle. After that, the Brent Venables Show. Teddy Lehman will join me for that. But this first hour, please help me welcome my co-hosts, a couple of Sooner greats with me here again tonight. Josh Norman and Gabe Eichert, everybody. Hi, fellas. I'll get some of that.
Come here.
I'll take some of that. Always good to be here, man.
Always good to see you,
Need
Mr.
some
Norman.
positivity around this place. Come
man.
on.
We're gonna try to find some
energy.
Back home this week. Feels like a long time since we've been in the Palace. 11:45 a.m. kickoff Saturday. First time ever against the South Carolina Gamecocks. We'll talk about that game coming up in a bit. Opening segment brought to you by Community Coffee, family-owned Community Coffee, the official brewed coffee of OU Athletics. Taste the difference family makes. Unfortunately, we will start with the results down in the Cotton Bowl on Saturday. Texas a 34-3 winner, and Josh, we'll start with you. Tough day in Dallas for the Crimson and Cream.
No doubt about it, man. Tough day. We always hate losing to those guys in any fashion, 1 point or 31 points. Always tough to swallow, man. I mean, obviously, we all watched the game, and there were some times that we looked good, and a lot of times that we didn't. But I honestly, I'm encouraged. I really am. That although we lost by 31, they're not 31 points better than us. We did some good things at times, but just wasn't able to play consistently good football. And anytime you're going against a good team like that, that's going to be the result when you're not able to execute consistently. But I'm encouraged moving forward. We got a few things to button up and tighten up. But I believe when we do those things, and I believe we're capable of doing those things first. And I believe that when we do those things, that we'll find ourselves back to playing football like Oklahoma knows how to play football.
Gabe, we're going to talk a lot about what went wrong and some of what went right. But worth noting off the top, give credit to Texas. They're a really good football team.
Yeah, they're the best team in the country.
Right now.
From what I've seen.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of football.
I know you do.
I fall asleep several hours before my wife, and I just lay in bed and watch football like a complete weirdo. They're as good as I've seen this season. Yeah. And to their credit, they came out and they played well. Ewers was a little shaky early, but other than that, they played well. They looked like the team that they've looked like all season. And that is one of the best teams in the country that is capable of going and winning a national title this year.
Well, strong defensive start for Oklahoma. They forced the turnover on the opening possession, held Texas to just 13 yards in the first quarter. Josh, it looked promising early on in this game.
Yeah, it did, man. I thought, especially in those first couple of drives, man, obviously our defense, created a turnover in the first drive. Our offense was able to move the ball well those early drives, but we just couldn't finish. I think, when we look at from our offensive perspective, we finished the game with more first downs than they did. So we were moving the ball well, but we've got to be able to finish those long drives, and we've got to be able to. A big part of finishing long drives in the end zone is being able to make big plays. On those drives, it's just really hard to just matriculate the ball down the field, 5 yards here, 6 yards here. We've got to be able to start getting some big chunk plays. And then defensively, man, when you're going against a great team like Texas with a great offense like them, it's if you're out of position one time, it's going to be the death of you. And like they had three big plays in the run game. They had 2 or 3 big plays in the pass game. But other than that, our defense was solid. But we've got to be able to make those plays in those instances and play very consistent football.
It's all about playing complementary football, and the defense came out and played extremely well in the first quarter. And unfortunately, the Sooners offense, there just wasn't much to show for that. You think about the field position that the offense had early in the football game. They were not able to capitalize on some of the best field position you're going to find, especially playing a good football team like Texas. And it felt like there was a large missed opportunity there in the first quarter to get out to a lead.
Yeah.
Whether it would have been 10-0, 14-0, the opportunity was there.
Put the pressure on them.
To put the pressure on Texas while that offense settled in. And unfortunately, Oklahoma's offense just couldn't really find a rhythm all game long, really struggled to move Texas at the point of attack. Had no explosive plays in the entire football game. Not a single play over 15 yards. It's really, really difficult to play offense at a high level if you do not have explosive plays, just like Josh mentioned. So you had a missed opportunity there in the first quarter to create some separation, and then Texas's offense found its rhythm, and Oklahoma's defense made some uncharacteristic mistakes, just things we haven't seen from this group so far this year.
We're going to get into some of the struggles in a bit, but just to give some flowers out off the top, Eli Bowen, the true freshman, was fantastic at cornerback. 8 tackles, made his first career start on Saturday. Really cool story. Both Eli and Peyton Bowen started this game. First brothers to start a game on defense for OU since the Selmans back in 1975. And Josh, you know this young man better than we do, but boy, he looks like a football player.
Oh man, he is. It's impressive. And like to be honest, man, I do know him. But as I was watching the game, I was like, who is that guy?
I don't know that guy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he just, he's just so unassuming. He's a smaller guy, always walking around with this little goofy smile on his face. He's a young kid, but man, he's a baller, man. He played exceptionally well, he was a tremendous component to the times that our defense did play well. He was a big part of that this weekend.
There's it seems like, I know it's not real big, Gabe, but boy, he is tenacious, and we have seen multiple times now teams feel like they can pick on him because of his size. He plays larger than he is.
Well, I'm just going to call it how I see it. He looks like our best corner.
Yeah.
As a true freshman, you think about that stage on Saturday, it doesn't get any bigger than OU Texas for either of those teams. Yeah. The entire country's watching, and I thought he was fantastic. Not only in coverage, being where he was supposed to be in the defense and those coverage schemes, I thought his tackling is really what stood out.
No question.
I mean, just arriving with physicality and purpose at the football, and we saw how big of a deal missed tackles were for OU's defense in this game, and how Texas made us pay for those missed tackles. But Eli Bowen didn't have any of them.
Yeah, it's one thing to get there, to be physical when you get there. A whole nother thing to just get them down.
Right.
And he was able to do that, man. And, like Gabe said, there were too many times that we weren't able to get guys on the ground in critical situations. And so, his tackling was phenomenal, and he just brings another edge to a great defense.
Sooners started 2 Bowens and a Bowman in the secondary on Saturday, a play-by-play man's nightmare. But we'll take it. We'll keep it going forward. Another guy that deserves some praise, freshman wide receiver Zion Kearney, had 1 reception all season before Saturday. He had 4 catches, including the 15-yarder you're talking about, which was the longest play of the day for OU. Josh, maybe something to build from with this young man. He's got some good size to him, and maybe he's starting to get a little bit comfortable here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think, on his part, I think on Mike Hawkins' part as well, he showed some signs. Like when he had a clean pocket, he could stand in there and deliver the ball well. Other times he didn't. But I think we have a lot of great talent. I mean, let's not get it mistaken. We've done a great job recruiting. But some of these guys are young. I mean, for those guys to come into this game, as Gabe mentioned, there's no bigger game in college football than this in the regular season. And for those guys to come in and, do their part, and obviously everybody made mistakes. But man, yeah, I think the future is bright for these young guys. And then, them getting the opportunity in a game like this is only going to help them perform better moving forward throughout the season.
You like Kearney?
He looks good.
Yeah.
He looks like he belongs physically, and with young receivers, it's all about getting comfortable and getting confidence. And I'm hopeful that getting a couple catches in that game, in that setting, that will kind of propel him forward. I know this. We need him.
Yeah, they need some.
You look at the wide receiver situation. We need him. We need him to step up.
Okay, we are going to jump into some of the struggles, both offensively and defensively, on Saturday, and do some midway point of the season evaluations when we come back. Sooners getting set for the Gamecocks of South Carolina coming up this Saturday morning in Norman. We'll be back on the Huddle right after this.
The Huddle is brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. Walden Cleaners and Laundry, where the difference is quality. Riverwind Casino, good times, great rewards. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
Left. Ewers back to pass. Straight drop in the pocket. Steps up, looking downfield. He throws late across the middle. Sailed it, and it's intercepted. Billy Bowman, a diving catch at the Texas 45. Billy Bowman picked him off.
Well, it's a great start. Exciting early. Unfortunately, the Sooners fall 34-3 to Texas. Welcome back to the Huddle. All right, let's talk about some of the struggles, especially on offense. And got to start Gabe at quarterback. Michael Hawkins, obviously the first true freshman to ever start this game for Oklahoma. He looked like it at times. He made some plays, got rushed at times. But what was your evaluation of how he played?
Well, it didn't go particularly well, but I thought that you just look at the offense as a whole, and nothing went particularly well. And that makes it very, very difficult on a young quarterback to play at a high level. I mean, you think about typically the things that help set a young quarterback up for success. That's running the football efficiently and consistently. That's protecting him at a high level. And that's having guys that can go make plays at the skill positions. And the Sooners didn't run it efficiently. They didn't protect him well. And guys struggled to get open.
Yeah.
And running backs struggled to make guys miss. I mean, Josh, unless you saw it differently, I know everyone wants to talk about how did Michael Hawkins look? Would Jackson Arnold have looked better if he would have gotten the opportunity? And I look at that situation and go, I don't care who the quarterback is. Everyone around whoever the quarterback is has to be better. Absolutely. If you can't run the football, if you can't protect the quarterback, if you don't have guys at the skill spots that can go make plays, then I don't care who you put back there. It's not going to go particularly well.
No, he's spot on. I mean, it's really hard for any quarterback to get in rhythm under that type of pressure. We're not able to run the ball well. We're sitting in, second and long, third and long, where we're relying on him to throw the ball down the field. Guys are struggling to get open. It's going to be difficult for him. The thing that I appreciate about Mike, besides the fumble that he had, I mean, he takes care of the ball. Yeah. He's not throwing the ball to the other team, and I think he makes good decisions the majority of the time. Offensively, if you look, besides the turnover that Billy had, we had horrible field position the entire game. That was the best field position we had all game, and we didn't capitalize on it except, we missed that field goal, didn't we?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And so, we didn't even capitalize on that one. And so, it's really hard for a young quarterback to be able to play under those type of circumstances. Just to Gabe's point, overall, we just have to do a better job up front, in the run game and in pass protection. And then, on the perimeter, we have to do a better job of blocking so we can do our quick game, getting the ball out quick for perimeter screens and stuff like that, and then just getting open. And so it's always going to be difficult. And to Gabe's point, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is. If we can't get those things fixed and going well, then it's going to be difficult.
I think that you watch Quinn Ewers, right? And clearly, veteran guy, bunch of veteran guys around him, veteran offensive line, really talented, skilled guys. Did you notice how easy it looked for him?
Yeah.
That's when you have the pieces around you, that's when you look good at quarterback.
Yeah.
It's hard to go out there and just fix all these problems around you. That's just not real life. So Michael Hawkins, Jackson Arnold, I don't care. Well, the other 10 guys around him got to be better.
That's fair, but we still got to ask the question, who's going to be the quarterback? So does Jackson Arnold deserve another shot, or do you think they ride it on out here, or would you ride it on out with Michael Hawkins?
I don't care.
Yeah, okay.
I want whoever's going to make plays, but I think that you're probably still looking at Michael Hawkins because of how athletic he is. Newsflash, South Carolina is bringing the best edge duo in the country to town on Saturday. They're better in Texas at the edge position.
They are.
They got two guys that can absolutely go as pass rushers.
Dylan Stewart and Kyle Kennard have a combined 11 sacks on the year.
Very, very good. They've probably forced, 20 holding penalties between them. And
so the mobility
so
advantage.
You factor that in. But I just think overall, I get the fan base wants to talk about the system. I think when you look at the plan against Texas, it felt very complicated in the run game. And I would like to see this team get to some simpler things to where the offensive line can play a little faster. And Michael Hawkins doesn't have to make so many complicated decisions every time they snap the football. And right now, he's having to make a lot of decisions as the game's moving very fast, not only in the passing game, but in the running game. And I would like to see some of that decision-making taken off his plate. But I don't know what they're going to do at quarterback. I have no idea.
Yeah. I mean, to his point, Josh, I guess the next question everybody wants to know is it fixable? Can it get better? We're halfway through the season now.
Yeah, no question about it, man. I mean, here's the deal. People have to understand. These coaches aren't just well, that's it. Players aren't just well, this is who we are.
We're done here.
They're working diligently every single day, breaking down film of themselves, of their opponents, of our talent, and working to get the right people in the right places, working to get the right scheme in for those people. And so, is it fixable? Absolutely. Again, as I said in the opening part, is that, I understand that we're looking at a 31-point differential in last week's game, but it's not that big of a gap. You know what I'm saying? There are small things that we can get better at running the ball. I think, keeping it as simple as possible in the run game, keeping it as simple as possible in the pass game. But I'm telling you, if we don't run the ball, everything else is going to be difficult if we don't run the ball well. Because from running the ball, then that's going to help you get your boots, your sprint outs, and your play action game going. And so if we can, literally, if we can fix the run game and get that going, which I believe we do, we have the best offensive line coach in the country. And I have no doubt in that he's going to get these guys going, especially once we have some consistency in who our five guys are. We've been beat up, and so getting a healthy five offensive linemen that we can keep on the field that are consistent is going to help that run game a little bit. I thought we showed spurts at time of running the ball really well. But, we got into a position where we had to start throwing the ball a little bit more to stay in the game, and it just took away from the run game. And so I think, to answer your question, again, yes, it can be fixed. It will be fixed. And you know, like again, like I said earlier, we're going to get to a point where you're seeing Oklahoma football perform like Oklahoma football. And so it's not saying that it's easy, but it is doable and it's fixable.
Other side of the ball, the defense first half evaluation, they've been good, Gabe. They've been great at times, but what needs to be better or what can be better here second half of the season to even help out the effort more?
I think when you look at the Texas game, it's tackling. And I know that it seems like, hey, it's simple. Just tackle better. Tackling's hard. Tackling guys as talented as the guys from Texas is hard. And we saw that. Guys are in positions to make plays and just didn't make those plays for whatever reason on Saturday. We had not seen.
And they've been pretty good this year. In that.
There have been, a handful of missed tackles here and there, right? And that happens. It's football. But the missed tackles on Saturday were crucial and led to massive offensive plays for Texas. That's the thing for me. That's the number one thing. You look at it, and it just that has to be better. If they can fix that, and South Carolina's got some really talented, skilled guys as well. If you can fix those tackling issues, then you're going to feel really good about where Oklahoma's defense is going to be at.
Yeah, so like I'll say, when it comes to the tackling, we're a good team. We're a good tackling team, and we've shown that in the past. I think what our issue was this year or this past week was just our positioning. I think we had bad positioning on our approach to the ball carrier, and then when we got there, if we're out of position at the point of attack, then we're not going to be good tacklers. And like I'll give credit to Texas in that regard, because I think Sark does a good job of keeping defenses off balance, guessing, thinking a lot, pre-snap, post-snap, with all of the movement that they do. And so I think our guys, they just had bad approaches to get into the ball carrier, and they were in bad position when they got there. So I don't see that as being a problem moving forward. But that's one of the things that we got to work on is how we approach the ball carrier and how we get them to the ground. But I don't think that'll be a problem moving forward.
It kind of became a little bit of an epidemic there in the second quarter. The first quarter was great. Second quarter got away from them a little bit. All right, when we come back, what's up next? South Carolina coming to town. First ever matchup between these two football programs on Saturday. We'll preview the showdown with the Gamecocks next here on The Huddle.
Log on to Soonersports.com/kids for information about joining the Sooner Junior Kids Club, presented by OG&E and brought to you in part by Orthodontics exclusively, Mathis Home, and Devon Energy. OU's 2024 football games are available on Exitos 96.5 FM in Oklahoma City and 101.5 FM El Patron in Tulsa, as well as on those stations' websites. Each OU Spanish broadcast will feature a 30-minute pregame show and a 15-minute postgame show. The best place to gear up for game day is shop.soonersports.com.
Welcome back, everybody, to Rudy's. Time to go behind enemy lines, now brought to you by the Riverwind Casino. Good times, great rewards. Next up for the Sooners, Saturday morning, 11:45. A little bit of a weird start time, but it's an SEC Network game on Saturday. It'll be OU against the Gamecocks of South Carolina. By the way, folks, if you do not know, this is a whiteout on Saturday, so all Sooner fans encouraged to wear white to the Palace on the Prairie. Shane Beamer, the head coach, our old buddy at South Carolina. Great dude. Boy, they lost a heartbreaker at Alabama on Saturday. Had a chance to win that one late. What do you know about South Carolina, Gabe?
They're the best three-loss team in the country. I truly believe that. You look at the games that they've lost. LSU, Ole Miss was not a competitive game. That was an outlier.
They didn't play well that day.
For what they've been this season. They should have beat Bama on Saturday in Tuscaloosa. I mean, they had a great opportunity to win that football game, and I can only imagine Beamer and that staff and those players, they got to be kicking themselves because you watched the fourth quarter of that game, and they had every opportunity to walk out of there with a win. They are a very physical football team, and they got a lot of talent.
Yeah.
On both sides of the ball. That's what really stands out is you look at them on tape and you can see the size and the power and the speed. They look like an SEC football team, that's for sure.
What's the scoop? Brought to you by Brahms Ice Cream and Dairy Store Farm Fresh for over 50 years. What about you, Josh? What do you see in the Gamecocks?
Yeah, the one thing that sticks out to me is how talented they are. They're extremely talented on both sides of the ball. Have a lot of talent, in the skill position on offense, and those daggum defensive ends. Yeah. Good Lord,
watch
man!
out!
Like that Stewart kid,
true freshman.
Oh my goodness, he's the most impressive defensive player I've seen this year. Like he is really good, and so yeah, I mean, to me on film, they're an extremely talented team. They're a veteran team. They have a lot of veterans on the team, but they struggle with being consistent and playing a full game, similar to some of our woes. But yeah, they're a good team and probably are the best 3-loss team in the country.
Quarterback Lenoris Sellers, big guy, 6'3", 240. He's a truck in the open field when he gets to running the football. Rocket Sanders, their running back, used to be at Arkansas. Very good back as well. They got a talented wide receiver. And then you mentioned previously Dylan Stewart and Kyle Kennard, the two defensive ends. Kennard's got 7.5 sacks. Stewart's got 3.5. But I've heard some Stewart comparisons to Javon Curse and some other big-time defensive ends.
I was in Cleveland when the Browns drafted Myles Garrett first overall.
Yeah.
And the way that he bends and his level of athleticism, that's who he reminds me of, and I think that's his ceiling. His ceiling is the first pick of the draft.
Wow.
He is – and there's some moments where, he looks like a freshman. I don't know how many gap scheme double teams he wants to take on over and over and over again, but – when this guy can rush the passer, it is – as a former offensive lineman, I watch it and go, oh, God.
That's the other guy. We're showing you Kennard right now.
Yeah,
that's
Kennard,
the other guy.
And Kennard's really, really good, but Stewart, his potential is I don't even know where that guy's ceiling is.
Yes, I love the Javon Curse comparison. His length, his speed, his athleticism is absolutely compared to Javon Curse.
Well, yeah, I know you're pointing out their strengths. I mean, you did mention they have been inconsistent. I think that's worth pointing out. They played really well at Kentucky and won a road game. They kind of came back home and laid an egg against Ole Miss, played great at Alabama. They've just had a hard time putting it together over and over again.
I do think the defense is the strength of their football team up to this point in the season. And Lenoris Sellers, I remember he got hurt against LSU. If he doesn't get hurt, I think they beat LSU.
It's the quarterback.
Lenoris Sellers, their starting quarterback, and he's still coming back from that ankle injury. I'm not sure if he's all the way back, maybe getting closer and closer, unfortunately for us. But I think when you look at their defense, the Sooners are going to have to push the ball down the field. And when you look at what I call their core six, right? They play a 4-2-5 defense. Their defensive line is very good, and their linebackers are physical, and they can run.
Yeah.
So here's the deal about the Stewart kid the point that I want to make is, to Gabe's point, he does look like a true freshman at points, and it's typically when you run the ball right at him. And so, like, in my opinion, we're going to have to run the ball well. And, just in my experience of being in this game for a long time, doing what I've done, a guy like that, you can't – you got to go at him. You have to go run right at him. I know the other kid on the other side has – he's older. He has a lot more experience. He's probably going to be more physical. But with the Stewart kid, you got to go right at him and attack him. If we can establish the run game, we put ourselves in a much better position to win the game. Because if we start getting back there and start trying to throw the ball around with them two dudes coming off the edge, it's going to be a long night.
One of the interesting things about both of the edge guys, especially Stewart, number 6, they will jump out of their gap to try and go make a play.
Yes.
Now, they're both very, very talented, and when they do it, a lot of times they make the play. But guys, and they will jump a gap or even like 2 over and try to backdoor some things to go get a tackle for loss. And when they do that, you got to make them pay for not being gap sound. You have to run the football effectively. In a perfect world, you're blocking those guys up every snap. I'm telling you right now, that is not going to happen because of how talented they are. But I think the most important thing for OU's run game is they have to win on the interior.
Yeah.
They have to create movement in the interior. And South Carolina's defensive tackles, they're solid. I mean, it's not like they're a bad group. And they've got several guys that they rotate and they keep them fresh, play with good technique, play with good pad level, got some veteran guys in there as well. But they got monsters on the edge. You got to get some movement there in the interior. The interior offensive line for the Sooners has to play at a very high level if this run game's going to get going.
Quarterback Lenore Sellers, about a 60% completion guy. He's got 4 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions on the year. He's got a big arm. When he throws it, sometimes it doesn't go where he wants it to. On paper, it looks like a 10-7 SEC slugfest. One of those real low-scoring.
I'm all for that if we've got 10 and they've got 7.
I'm with you.
Right.
I'm just saying that's what it looks like.
Sign me up right now.
Two teams that have really good defenses that have struggled at times on offense.
I'm just going to be real. I know.
Finally. Thank you.
I know some guys that are part of that South Carolina program. They think they're coming to Norman and winning. And they say it with no doubt in their mind that they think they're coming and winning this game. So I'm very interested to see how the Sooners bounce back from the disappointing performance in the Cotton Bowl, knowing that this team thinks they're coming to your house and beating you.
Yeah. Well, as one guy I know likes to say, we're about to find out.
Yeah,
that's right.
Nice.
Yeah. What's on the menu? Brought to you by Taco Mayo. Big appetite, bigger savings. Download and save today. Interesting day around the rest of college football. We'll look at it when we come back on the Huddle. Stay with us.
We want to thank all of our Sooner Radio Network affiliates across the state and region. Fans can check out Soonersports.com for an affiliate in your area. And if you're traveling outside the state of Oklahoma, you can listen to all the action on either SiriusXM Radio or download the Varsity Network app and listen free. Taco Mayo. Big appetite, bigger savings. Download and save today. Air Comfort Solutions, your total home solution for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical. Make the winning call today.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Time for What's Your Beef, brought to you by Didier Ranch. Didier Ranch's premium ranch-raised beef can be shipped anywhere in the continental U.S. Visit DidierRanch.com. That's D-I-D-I-E-R Ranch.com to order. Didier Ranch, tradition tastes better. What's your beef this week, Gabe Eichert?
People need to leave Will Howard alone.
Okay. Ohio State quarterback into the game the other night.
The only thing people are talking about is him sliding at the end.
Yeah.
Guy was fantastic. And the only reason there wasn't enough time was because his coaches don't know the clock rules.
Yeah.
Could you believe that happened?
It was a great football game. I was listening to it driving home from the Cotton Bowl. A great back-and-forth football game, but a little bit of a boneheaded finish there.
Offensive pass interference on Jeremiah Smith. Guy got his money's worth. That was a nice shove. But it was clear they weren't lined up ready to snap the football. The clock was running. Precious time was coming off the clock.
They fumbled the bag on that.
Yeah.
He's got a speaker in his helmet. Why is his coach not saying, Will, get on the ball, get the team on the ball, get the team on the ball? It will be, the clock will run once they set the football, and we need to be ready to snap.
It did appear they didn't know the rules.
They didn't.
Did Oregon have 12 men on the field on purpose? That's a good question. Because that was kind of accidentally genius if they did.
Do you think it was on purpose?
I don't know. If you had thought of that, that's next level chess. But
It's knowing the rules.
yeah, but I would have never thought of that.
Dan Lanning, how many analysts does he have?
Oh,
He's got a lot. There's got to be one nerd that said,
Let's
hey,
put 12
Dan,
guys on the field.
Dan, let's put 12 on the field.
Truth is, it probably
That's the way an
happened.
analyst talks.
Probably
right there.
happened one time in fall camp, and they were like, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
You know-
accidentally
Yeah.
run the clock.
In all seriousness, that's the stuff that Bill Belichick prided
Yeah.
himself in knowing. Mike Vrabel,
Yeah,
who learned
absolutely.
from Belichick,
Yeah.
they did
Know
all
the
those
rules.
weird things.
It's going to cost us 5 yards. They're going to lose a lot of time, and we're going to have a 12th guy back there, so they're not going to hit a big play.
Yep.
Right. So
Kinda genius.
I think Oregon did it on purpose.
Yeah. Well,
I think
fascinating.
they knew this situation. They said, hey, we're not going to give up a big play. We'll put 12 on the field. Some time will run off the clock, and they'll only have time for one more play.
A lot of people do it on purpose now that they saw it happen.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look. It was a fantastic day of college football. We had overtimes in the top 10 all over the place. We mentioned Oregon beat Ohio State by 1 in Autzen Stadium. Penn State comes from deep to beat USC on an overtime field goal with one of the craziest plays I've ever seen. They moved the fullback to center on the end of the line, then they double pass him the football down the field.
Did you see his stat line?
I'm mad you didn't ask me what my beef was.
What's your
Ooh,
beef?
I'm listening.
Let me finish this graphic first.
Yeah, you do that.
LSU beat Ole Miss in overtime. Big comeback there. Alabama and Tennessee survive upsets. Okay, Josh.
You know, I got to
Norman.
play to the crowd a little bit.
What's your
I know I'm a little late on this, but I just saw like Lincoln Riley's brisket.
Oh my gosh, you're way
That's
late on this.
that's my beef. It's
Yeah.
like
How is that possible that you just saw that?
that's really bad. Like
It's
that's my
dominated the
beef.
internet
like,
for years.
Leave that beef alone.
My beef is that you just saw
Mine-
Lincoln Riley's biscuit.
Yeah,
Come to Rudy's.
you
like,
sound ridiculous.
get some beef, get some
Rudy.
brisket from Rudy's, but
They're
don't like that's bad.
Is he serious?
I think
hey.
so. I think so.
Have you been living in a cave, man?
a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Is it focused?
Do they not let you out of there over at Soul Mission? What are we doing?
What,
Yeah,
other,
man.
what other game Saturday caught your attention?
I thought that the Penn State USC game was fantastic.
Wow.
That's just a game when you think about the types of games James Franklin has lost.
Yeah.
I mean, coming back from down 2 touchdowns on the road, that was impressive.
Yeah.
That was impressive. And what a day by Warren, the tight end. 17 catches.
17 catches.
That
That's
was
insane.
That was nuts.
insane.
But I loved that
One of
Oregon,
them after snapping the ball is the center.
Yeah,
on the play.
that was cool. It was a flag football play. That was awesome. Andy Koldenicki, he's got all of them, man. He's fun, but it was really cool to see the big games, right? The marquee games, other than ours, really live up to the hype. That made it a very fun Saturday of college football.
Seemed like every game went to overtime. Here's what's coming up this week. You've got Georgia and Texas playing down in Austin. Marquee game there. Alabama goes to Tennessee on Saturday. Michigan and Illinois, nice game in the Big Ten as well. A lot of the eyes, though, Josh, going to be on that game between the Dogs and the Horns down on the 40 acres.
Yeah. And I mean, I know a lot of people got Texas winning. I just don't. I don't see it happening, man. I think Georgia
You think
goes
Georgia
into
wins?
Austin and wins. Yeah.
I'll
what do y'all
take-
think? Y'all think Georgia goes in? Yeah. I mean,
I don't like either of them, so I'll take. I trust Texas's offense to score more than I trust Georgia's offense.
They've struggled a little bit this year, Georgia.
Yeah, just it seems like something is missing. They're a little banged up at running back, missing one of their best offensive linemen. He's out for the season.
Georgia's going to be able to run the ball against them, and I think that's going to be the difference. I think they're able to run the ball against them. Trust me
But
on
can
this,
you
Gabe.
can you just? But my thing is,
It's hard to trust you when you just now saw
I-
Lincoln Riley's brisket. So
yeah.
But
Come on,
my
man.
assessment was
I can't
correct.
believe-
It was
true.
dry
It
brisket.
is an accurate assessment. Yeah.
I can't believe that happened. But I think Steve Sarkisian's really, really good, and I think that they'll be able to score some points against the Georgia defense, who, let's be real, that is not a dominant group this year like we're used to seeing these last couple seasons. They've shown some vulnerability throughout the season. I think DKR is going to be about as rocking as it's
F1
been.
race in town.
It's
next
going to be
weekend,
an
too.
insane weekend
Probably
in Austin.
Getting through Austin traffic won't be any
But
problem at all, I'm sure.
I think Ewers will play. I don't think he's going to be as shaky as he looked, especially early against us.
Did you see Kirby tried to take out the Mississippi State quarterback?
Yeah,
How about
that's
that?
crazy,
Okay.
wasn't it?
People forget Kirby Smart was a like all-conference safety at
Yeah,
Georgia.
good player.
He was an all-conference safety. The guy's got to be a psycho.
Still got a strong forearm shiver.
I mean, he was a defensive coordinator for forever. I mean, I'm not surprised. Van Buren deserves a lot of credit not reacting.
Yeah.
I mean, he was probably just so shocked that it happened. He didn't. But
How would you have handled that if he hit you on the
Not
sidelines?
well.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Not well.
All right, we'll take a break. We've got our hot takes, our bold predictions for OU South Carolina coming up when we wrap up the show next.
Thank you to our cornerstone television partners, OU Health, OG&E, Fowler Auto Group, and Coca-Cola.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Final segment brought to you by Air Comfort Solutions, your total home solution for plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical. Make the winning call today. There you see it, white out Saturday. Don't forget, folks, wear white for the South Carolina game on Saturday. We close every show with hot takes from Air Comfort Solutions. Josh, what's your hot take, your bold prediction for OU South Carolina?
I think we score 21 points on offense, which is a big
If we
deal.
score 21, I think we'll win.
Big deal for us, yeah. And, I mean, I think our defense gets
21
back to –
or more points.
Or more, yeah. That's,
gotcha.
that's what I meant. Sorry about that. And I think our defense does what they do, and we win the game.
All right. Gabe, hot take.
Scalding hot. Sooners are going to have a 100-yard rusher.
Wow. Haven't had that
I
yet
told
this
you,
year.
scalding hot.
You want to say who it is, or you just want to leave that open?
You got to pick Barnes.
Barnes, okay. 100-yard rusher in this game. I'm going to say
Hawkins.
That's fine. I'm going to say after this week of kind of bashing the offense, they're going to score a touchdown on the opening drive of this game.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that.
That
too.
would.
That's why I said it. So I like it.
I like it.
That
Yeah.
would be. I think that would be tremendous for everyone involved on Saturday.
Therapeutic, yeah, for sure.
Coaches, players, the fans.
So do you win your hot take if they get the ball first?
On our opening drive, we'll score a touchdown. Yeah, yeah. Thanks for watching. Stick around. Brent Venables, Teddy Lehman coming up next.
The OU Huddle has been brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, bringing you the best in real Texas barbecue. Walden Cleaners and Laundry, where the difference is quality. And by Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation on the Sooner Sports Network.